In your organization, you may have defined standards to be followed for your Azure resources. But how do you ensure those standards are followed? Well, that is where Azure Policies will help us. Azure Policies allows us to create, assign, and manage policies that controls and audits how resources are created and used. Policy is nothing but a set of rules. You can create set of rules and those rules are called policy. Rule is nothing but a desired resource configuration. You can think of this as one implementable piece from your company standard. So you'll have a standard within your company and those standards can be converted into rules and those rules can be collected into something called policy, right? And we can even group these policies together. When you group multiple policies together under a name, you call it as initiative. So initiative is nothing but group of policies. You normally create initiatives to achieve a larger goal. For example, this could be something like monitoring cost or enhancing security and things like that. So those are initiatives. And again, both policy and initiative can be applied at 4 different levels. You can apply them at management group, subscription, resource group, as well as at individual resources. And if you apply these policies and initiatives at a higher level, then it will cascade down. Basically, policies are inheritable. So if a policy is applied at management group level, then the policy is enforced on everything that comes under that management group. So this includes subscription, resource group, and resources. Okay. If you want to exclude a policy from a particular resource, you can explicitly specify that as an exception. Now, the policies that you create will highlight any resources that are not compliant and it will also prevent creating any new resources that are not compliant. So it does both. And Azure provides several built-in initiatives and policies that you can use out of the box, but it also allows you to create custom policies. If you like to create custom policies or initiatives, you can still do that. And policies are retrospective in the sense that when you are applying a policy to any of these hierarchical structure, then those policies will be applied to existing resources as well. This is not only for the new resources, this will be applied to any existing resources as well. So one of the example for this policy is, for example, you may have a policy to say that you cannot create a VM of beyond certain size. Okay. So when you create and apply such a policy, what will happen is it will not allow you to create any new virtual machine beyond the specified size. And also it will highlight all the existing virtual machines that are not compliant with this policy. Okay. So that is what it allows us to do. In some cases, the policies that you create will automatically remediate non-compliant resources. So this is not always possible. In some cases, it is possible. For example, if you take tags as an example, you can create a policy to say that every resource must have a particular tag. And if the tag is not available, you can configure that policy to automatically create the tag for that particular resource. Okay. And again, this is not possible for all the policies. Some policies allows you to define automatic remediation. Okay. So that is what Azure Policy is. Now let's go to Azure portal and see how this works. I'm here within the Azure portal and in here I have selected policy blade. So within Azure, I just typed policy in the search window and I selected policy here and it took me to this page. And here you can see that I have one policy and that policy is non-compliant at the moment. So I have created this policy in my subscription for this particular resource group called test, and the policy itself is expecting a particular tag to be available on this particular resource group. And because we don't have this tag now, this policy is highlighting that this resource is non-compliant. Okay. Now we can see the actual assignment in here in the assignments tab. If you see here, I have created this particular policy and the policy is applied to the resource group called test within the subscription. Now, if I go and add the missing tag for the resource group, then when the policy is evaluated next time, it will usually be evaluated every 24 hours. So when the policy is evaluated next time, this will come as compliant. And I don't have any remediation configured for this particular policy that you can see here under the remediation tab. I don't have any policies to remediate and I don't have any remediation tasks either. But if I have configured this to be remediated automatically, then the remediation task will take care of adding the missing tag and the policy will become compliant. And if I go to this definitions tab, you can see that there are several built-in initiatives and policies. But if you want to create a custom policy or initiative, we can create them here as well. Once you decided the policy that you want to apply, either by selecting one from this list or by creating a custom policy, you can go to Assignments tab to assign a policy to particular scope. So to assign a policy, you select this Assign Policy and you can pick a scope here. I'm going to leave the scope as pay-as-you-go, which is my subscription. And here you can select the exclusion. So this policy will be applied to all the resources that are coming under this particular subscription. If you want to exclude some of the resources, then you can select those resources in here. Similarly, if you want to target only subset of resources under the scope, you can use this resource selector. I'm going to leave that as blank as well. So the policy will be applied to all of the resources. Then I can choose the policy that I want to apply. So in here, if I go here, you can see all the policies and initiatives that you can apply. And I'm just going to search for something called tag. So this is going to display all the policies and initiatives with the tag in the description. So I'm going to pick this one called add or replace a tag on resource group. So if I select this and add, so this is the policy that I'm going to apply. And all these other things are optional parameters. And if I go to the next step, this is going to ask me what is the tag name and value. So I'm going to specify tag name is cost code and its value is 12345. Okay, so this is the tag name and tag value that I expect all my resources to have. Now I can create the policy now. So now the policy has been created. You can see here that this is the policy that we have added and this is applied at the whole subscription level rather than at resource group level like this one. So now if I go to my overview page, you see here that I have some non-complaints and we can see the details if we go to this complaints tab. And in here, if you see here, it says one of my policy has not started it. It actually means that this policy is not evaluated yet. When it is evaluated, this will also go into non-compliant state. And if I made sure I have added the missing tags, then these two will go back to compliant when this policy is evaluated next time. Okay, so this is how you'll create and assign a policy, and this is how you'll see what policies are compliant and non-compliant. Okay, so that is all I wanted to talk about Azure Policies. I hope this is useful. Thank you.